All right, team, today we're going to be replacing an alternator in a Jeep Grand Cherokee. It is here. Pretty simple job since it's right here on top. So we'll be removing this nut here, the bolt back here, this bolt here, and this bolt here. So this is a 15 millimeter. It's the same with this one. This is a 13 millimeter back here, and then this is a 13 millimeter nut up here. So obviously we got to go ahead and undo the tensioner, or loosen this, not loosen it, but loosen the serpentine belt so we can go ahead and get this done. Tensioner is right here. That's a 15 millimeter nut. Here are the tools that we're going to be using. So ratchet, breaker bar, regular wrench, the two socket sizes that we need. Now we're going to be using the wrench because of how tight it is in here, and I really don't want to remove the air box and all that, so the wrench will go ahead right in there and then be all good. So main thing, you see this is all melting here. That was actually going into the alternator and it wasn't working properly, so you can see it more there like that. So let's go ahead and get this started. All right, team, so I was mistaken. Closely more looking at it, this is actually the tensioner here. So as you see, I got the breaker bar on it, and what you're going to do is going to turn it clockwise, right? So just to show you, and you see how it's loosening the tension. So we're going to go ahead and move that just like that. And then now this is going to, so first we're going to go ahead and remove this nut up here. It says 13 millimeter nut. Put it on there like that. There we go. Yeah, with all this stuff on it, it's kind of a pain. So I'm gonna keep working on that nut right there, and then I'll be back once I get it off. All right, as you can see, I got that off, and then put the nut back on there so that the way it doesn't go anywhere. One thing I did forget to mention, guys, is to make sure you disconnect your battery. Okay, anytime you're working with anything electrical like this, you want to make sure that there's no power going to it or anything like that. Otherwise it can just pretty much short out the alternator or some other electronic components. So always remember, disconnect your battery. So now we're going to go ahead and take this bolt out here. It's a 13. I did use the breaker bar on all three bolts, just to kind of make it a little easier. It is pretty tight on there, so now that they're all broken loose, we can go ahead and get them all getting out. So like I said, this one's a 13. It's a lot easier once these things are all loose. Oh, there is this connection back here too, but I'll wait to take that off until I get the alternator out, just to make it a little easier. All right, 13. We're gonna set it up here so that way it's out of the way and we don't lose it. Now it's for these 15 millimeter bolts right there. Let me grab that socket. Okay. Actually, you know what? Since it's kind of tight in there, what I'm gonna do is grab a small extension real quick. I'll be right back. All right, now I got that small extension. Okay. And that's loose. So I'm gonna finish taking these out, guys, and then I'll be right back. All right, team, so here it is out of the vehicle. You do have to wiggle it out a little bit. Obviously it's tight in there so it doesn't move anywhere, but it's super easy. So here's the old one, here's the new one. So obviously you want to make sure that everything matches up, which everything does. Oh, the one thing I did want to mention too, this connection that was here on the back, take that off first, because it was trying to take it off with it connected and it just kept hitting the air box. So just took it off. Let's see, let me show you. Where is it at? Here it is right here. So it has this little red tab that's right here. You just make sure that that gets moved back. So that's like a locking tab, and then once it moves back, then you can push this little tab here and then slide it right out. So no big deal, pretty easy to do. So now let's go ahead and start getting the new run ready for install. All right, so here it is right here. It went right in place. So the biggest thing with these is you can see the difference in length. So this long one goes here, the short one goes here. So we're gonna go ahead and put the long one in right now, so that way make sure everything gets lined up. So I'm gonna have to put you guys down so I can use my other hand so I can adjust the alternator, so that way I can make sure this gets in there real good. Okay, so I'll be right back after I go ahead and do that. All right, now the bolts are in, snugged in tight and torqued to spec. What I'll do is I'll put the torque spec down in the description, but I wanted to go ahead and just show you guys how to get that in there, but then I realized I didn't have the camera rolling. So but those are in now. So this came, so the new one comes with a new nut, so obviously you want to do that. So now you go ahead and put the connection back on there. Right into those grooves, if you can get it in there, just like that, and then get the nut on, and make sure it goes all the way down. Just like that. Move that over a little bit and get that on there tight. Oops, I'm going the wrong way there. Remember, righty tighty, lefty loosey. Alright. Now to grab the wrench. Looks like that nut is a little smaller. It's a 12 maybe. There we go. Let's give it a little wiggle. Make sure it's not going nowhere. And it's not, so that should be all good. Now we're gonna make sure that this part is open like this. Slide it in place, wait for that click, just like that, and then lock it in. Give it a tug, and it's not going nowhere. Now to go ahead and put the belt back on. So 1 second, let me go grab what I need to go ahead and get that going. All right, and remember team, this is a 15 right there, so we have this all set up. So the biggest thing is when you're putting this on, there's grooves, as you can see right here. You want to make sure these grooves get lined up properly on here, otherwise you're going to shred the serpentine belt. I mean, that obviously wouldn't be good, you know, like it has the AC, power steering, all that stuff on here. So you want to make sure you're doing this properly. So remember, clockwise, loosen that up. Here's the bell here. Slowly pulling it up to make sure it gets into those grooves. Loosen it some more. Well, here, let me go ahead and put it on with two, and I'm going to need my other hand to do this. So I'm going to put you guys down and then I'll be right back. All right, now we're going to go ahead and reconnect the battery. Obviously, you always want to make sure that the tie down, which is down here, I don't know if you guys can see it, that bolt's a 10 millimeter. Make sure that's tight on there, which it is. So go ahead, take the positive, that on there. It's 10 millimeter bolt. And start it by hand. Sure it's nice and snug. Not going nowhere. Let's close that up. Let's get the negative. Put that on there. Tighten that up by hand a little bit and then snug it up. All right, team, here it is running. No problem, no squealing. The belt's not jumping around, which is a sign that it's not aligned right. Everything's going. No issues with anything. No check engine light or anything like that. And it's working all good. So what we're gonna do now is just drive it around a little bit. I had to jump the battery because the battery was dead, because obviously the alternator wasn't doing its job. So we're gonna just drive it around real quick, make sure everything is all good, which I don't see any real issues or anything. And that's it. And that is how you replace an alternator on a Jeep Grand Cherokee. If this video helped at all, guys, please consider subscribing, and if not, if you like it, just go ahead and give me a thumbs up if it helped at all. I'll be doing as many videos as I can as certain jobs come up and jobs with my Eclipse. So until next time, team, on to the next.